My name is Emmy, and I am 94 years old. This isn't advice, it's a confession. My long life isn't good genes, it's a penance. I outlived my husband because I helped kill him. It started with a picnic and a food I loved. Let me tell you what happened. You see, I need to tell you about Robert, my Robert. We met in a library in the spring of 1951. He was reaching for the same book as me. His hands had engine grease on them. He was a mechanic. He had a laugh that felt like a promise. I was a quiet secretary. He taught me to be loud. Our first home was a tiny place above a bakery. Every morning smelled of fresh bread. We were so poor and so in love. We thought we were invincible. That feeling led us to Lake Merritt on a perfect Saturday. I packed a feast, deviled eggs, potato salad, and Robert's favorite, thick, salty Virginia ham on soft white rolls. We ate with our hands, laughing. I can still see the grease shining on his chin. He patted his stomach and joked, "You'll kill me with this good food, Ellie." I swatted his arm. We were young. Death wasn't real to us. That was the last pure joy we ever shared. Because the change started weeks later, Robert began coming home exhausted. Then came the stomach pains, sharp pains that made him double over. His face would go white. I was worried, but I was blind. We were in our 20s. Sick was for old people. So I kept cooking his favorites. I thought I was comforting him. I served the ham, the processed cheeses, the heavy casseroles. I served them like prayers for him to get better. The diagnosis finally came. Stomach cancer. The doctor had kind eyes, but a grim mouth. He asked what we ate. I listed our meals with pride. I was a good wife, you see. I fed my man. The doctor listened. Then he said it. "All that processed meat, Mrs. Vance. The nitrates, the salt. It's hard on a young man's system." It wasn't an accusation, but it felt like one. Robert squeezed my hand. He said, "Don't listen, Ellie. It's not your fault." But the seed was planted. My love had been the vehicle for the poison. He fought for 2 painful years. The treatments wrecked his strong body. The hospital food was awful. He'd push it away and ask for one of my milkshakes. So I made them. Full-fat ice cream, sugary syrup. I was desperate to put weight on him. Every sweet sip felt like a victory. He died on a Tuesday, holding my hand. He was 29. My grief was a silent ocean, and in the deep, dark water, a terrible thought took root. I would not go the same way. My life would be my apology. So I began my research. This was the 1960s. I lived in the library. I scoured medical journals. I wrote letters to researchers. I became a detective, hunting for my own salvation. I made a list. The forbidden foods. Processed meats were first, of course. the ghost of that ham. Then refined white bread and pastries, sugary drinks and desserts like my milkshakes, fried foods, canned soups full of salt, certain vegetable oils, and later artificial sweeteners. I didn't just avoid them, I learned their replacements. My kitchen changed. It became a place of atonement, and so did I. The years turned. I had a career, good friends. I even fell in love again, cautiously. His name was Arthur. He was gentle. We had 43 good years. I shared my food rules with him, but never the real reason why. He died peacefully at 82, holding my hand, just like Robert. At his funeral, with our family around, the old guilt came back. Was my care for Arthur love, or just more penance? That question sat with me into my 90s. Then came my great-granddaughter, Chloe. She's 16. Last week, she filmed a video in my kitchen, a TikTok. She praised my plant-forward lifestyle. She called me a wellness icon. I saw the video, her earnest face, my clean kitchen, a bowl of berries on the counter. She saw a choice. I saw a crime scene. The word icon shattered me. The dam broke. So here is the truth. I am not an icon. I am a woman who, out of love, helped kill her first husband with food. My longevity is my life sentence. I stayed younger not from wisdom, but from guilt. Every healthy year has been a year he didn't get. This old body is my monument to him. And it is my prison. You wanted the secret? This is it. It's not a diet. It's an amends. If you want to stay younger, to truly live, eat with clear eyes. Eat for the future, not from the past. Don't let your love be served on a plate that harms. Look at your people. Look at yourself. Please, start today. Avoid those foods not because I told you to, but because you have a life and a love you are not yet ready to apologize for. Start today. Avoid those foods not because I told you to, but because you have a life and a love you are not yet ready to apologize for. You see, after Robert died, the quiet in that apartment above the bakery was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. The smell of bread in the morning just made me sick. I had to move. I got a small place near a library. That became my new home. I'd sit for hours, surrounded by all those books, looking for answers. I was looking for my sentence. I found it in a medical journal from 1962. A study on nitrates and stomach lining. I read the words correlation and carcinogenic. I didn't understand all of it, but I understood enough. My hands shook holding the page. That was the first brick in my prison wall. My friends from the old neighborhood, they tried. Marge from down the hall would bring over a tuna casserole. the kind with the potato chips on top. She meant well. "You need to eat, Ellie," she'd say. I'd thank her. I'd wait until she left. Then I'd throw it right in the trash. The smell of it cooking made my stomach turn. It smelled like guilt. I started cooking plain things: boiled chicken, steamed vegetables, oatmeal. Food became fuel, not joy. It was my new job, staying alive. I met Arthur at a community garden in 1970. I was trying to grow tomatoes. He was there with his roses. He saw me struggling and came over. "You need to talk to them," he said, very serious. Then he winked. He had a calm way about him. He asked me to coffee. I almost said no, but I went. I told him straight out, I don't eat certain things. He just nodded. "Okay," he said. "Tell me what they are." And he listened. He never called me peculiar. He learned to cook brown rice and lentils for me. When he proposed, he did it with a ring and a homemade loaf of whole grain bread. It was dense. It was awful. And I loved him for it. We built a good life. We had 2 children, Michael and Sarah. I raised them on my rules. No hot dogs at birthday parties. I'd bring homemade turkey burgers. No sugary cereals. They got oatmeal with berries. They complained sometimes. All kids do. But they were healthy. They are healthy. Arthur never asked about the why behind my rules. Not for 43 years. I think he knew the truth lived in a locked room inside me. He was kind enough not to pick the lock. When he got sick at the end, it was his heart, not his stomach. The doctor said it was just his time. I sat by his bed, holding his hand, feeding him little spoonfuls of applesauce. He looked at me and said, "You took such good care of us, Ellie." He smiled. Then he closed his eyes, and I was alone again with my first ghost. And I was alone again with my first ghost. That's when the real silence began. The silence after the funeral, after the children went home. It was just me and my kitchen and my rules. I'd look at a slice of cake and see Robert's face. I'd smell bacon frying and feel sick. For 70 years, I've been having a conversation with a man who isn't here. Every meal was a message to him. See, I learned. I'm sorry. Then Chloe called me an icon. That word, it broke something open. She came over yesterday, all bright and smiling. She said, "Great-Grandma, my followers loved the video. They want to know your secret. What's your #1 rule?" She held her phone up, ready to record. I looked at her. I looked at her young, hopeful face, so sure she was celebrating something good. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't give her another clean, pretty lie. My voice got very quiet. "Put the phone down, Chloe." She did. She looked confused. I said, "The number one rule is don't kill the person you love with a picnic lunch." She stared at me. I told her everything: the ham, the joke, the doctor, the milkshakes. I didn't cry, I just laid it out, plain and ugly. Her face changed. The excitement drained away. She looked horrified. Not by the story, but by me. By the raw, guilty thing I was showing her. She finally whispered, "But you were just loving him. You didn't know." And I said the hardest thing. But I fed him. That was my job, and I did it wrong. She started to cry. She reached for my hand, and I realized in that moment that I had been starving for 70 years. Not for food, for forgiveness, and it was never going to come from the one person I needed it from. He's gone. All my years of penance, and he's still gone. I built this long, healthy life as a monument to him, but a monument is just a fancy tombstone. You can't live inside a tombstone. You can't live inside a tombstone. I see that now, sitting here with Chloe's tears drying on my hand. I was wrong for 70 years. I thought my long life was my apology to Robert. But an apology needs a recipient, and he was never here to receive it. All I was doing was talking to a ghost. I built a prison of kale and whole grains and called it virtue. I turned my love for him into a list of forbidden foods. That wasn't love. That was just guilt wearing a disguise. Here's what I learned, the real lesson in all this. Love isn't a recipe you follow to the letter. It's not a perfect plate. I thought loving Robert meant feeding him what made him smile in the moment. And then I thought loving his memory meant never touching those foods again. Both were wrong. Love is presence. It's paying attention. If I could go back to that picnic, I wouldn't snatch the ham from his hands. I wouldn't lecture him. But I would pay attention. Later, when he got tired, when the pains came, I wouldn't have just offered more food as comfort. I would have listened to the fear under his jokes. I would have dragged him to a doctor sooner, not just rubbed his back and made another casserole. I confused being a good wife with being a good cook. They are not the same thing, and that's my advice to you. Don't make my first mistake. Don't show your love only through food. A shared meal is a beautiful thing, but it's the sharing that matters, not the salt content. Look across the table. Really look. Are they tired? Are they stressed? Is food their only comfort? Talk about that. And don't make my second mistake, the one I made for decades after. Don't turn your kitchen into a shrine of regret. Don't let every bite you take be a message to someone who's gone. That's no way to live. It's just a slower way to die inside. If you're my age or getting there, you carry losses. We all do. You might look at your own habits, your own aches and think, if only I had... Stop. That thought is a cage. You still have time. Maybe not decades, but you have now, and now is enough. Use it to be present, to truly taste your food, not just for its nutrients, but for the joy it can still bring. A perfect berry, a piece of dark chocolate. Share it with someone. Talk about something other than your ailments. Laugh. That laugh does more for your cells than any superfood ever could. Forgive yourself for the picnics of the past. You didn't know, I didn't know, but now we do. So we do better. Not out of fear, but out of a fierce, clear-eyed love for whatever time we have left. This isn't about living to be 94. It's about living until you don't. Really living. So, my final call to action is simple. Put this video down. Go to your kitchen. Look in your cupboard. But don't just look for the processed meats or the white bread. Look for the story. What does that food mean to you? Is it a memory? Is it a habit? Is it a comfort you don't even taste anymore? Then, go find someone you love. It could be your spouse, your child, a friend. Make them a cup of tea. Sit with them and talk. Ask them how they're really feeling. Listen. That conversation, that connection, is the most nourishing thing in the world. It's the only thing that ever truly kept anyone young. If this story sat with you, if it made you think of your own Robert or your own picnics, then do something for me. Share it. Not because I'm right, but because we all need to talk about this more. We need to untangle love from food and guilt from longevity. Click that share button and send it to someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below. Tell me, what's one food that holds a memory for you? I read them all. And if you want to make sure you don't miss these conversations, subscribe and ring that notification bell. This channel isn't about giving you more rules. It's about starting more honest talks. We have a story submission form linked below too. Your story matters. Maybe, together, we can learn to feed each other better, in every sense of the word. Thank you for listening to an old woman's confession. Now, please, go live your unapologetic life.